Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Ferocious Finance presented by MagicGatheringStrat. And as always, I am your host, Ferocious Llama. Today, we're going to be talking about some more buy and sell recommendations. But first, I wanted to take a minute to talk about a finance concept that a lot of people, I've been getting a lot of comments about this. People say, hey, I'm going to hang on to this card when we recommend it as a sell, because I think it's a good card. I think it's still going to go up. And you know what? You're right. It might go up. But in the world of finance, there's this concept called opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost for investing in one card is that you can't take the money. If I invest $1 in a card, I can't take that dollar and invest it in something else. So, and you have limited resources. If you have unlimited resources, you don't care about MTG Finance because you're apparently quite wealthy. So the idea is you have to remember that you can only invest in a limited number of cards. Even if it's a lot of cards, it's still a limited number because at some point you're going to run out of money or tickets. So the idea of some of our sell recommendations is that there's an opportunity cost associated with staying invested in some of the cards we recommend as selling. So we think you should take your money and put it somewhere better that can make you more money than those cards. So while the cards that people say, hey, I think I'm going to hang on to these because I think it's a good card, that's fine. Go ahead and hang on to it, but you can make more money elsewhere. And I do understand that, a lot of you guys like to play Magic. I like to play Magic, but we're talking about these cards from purely a financial perspective. So you have to kind of throw all the I like playing Magic out the window if you're going to take all of our advice. And I understand that some of you guys, you want to play and you want to keep your cards because you like them and you think they might go up a little bit. Hey, that's great. Go for it. But purely from a financial perspective, when we recommend selling because we don't think it's going to go up enough is our idea. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'm actually going to write an article that's going to get released tomorrow. We'll put a link to it in the show notes regarding opportunity cost, where I'll describe it in a little bit more detail. So if you guys are interested in that, check out the show notes and read the article. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll talk about it more if you like. Our first buy recommendation this week is Hero's Downfall from Theros. It's $2.02 right now. And we recommend it because after rotation, cards like Abrupt Decay won't be available anymore. And Hero's Downfall is basically murder plus kill a Planeswalker. So it's a great card. We think it's going to go up. The options for being able to destroy various creatures and Planeswalkers is going to be more limited after Ravnica block rotates out. So pick up your Hero's Downfalls now. Our next buy recommendation is Launch the Fleet. It's currently a rare from Journey into Nyx, and it's 68 cents right now. We recommend it because the ability to put small creatures into play is great with the theme from Theros block. It doesn't really play as much into the Ravnica block theme, but once Ravnica block rotates out, Standard will be defined by Theros block for the most part, until more of Khan's block is released. So pick up your Launch Fleets now. They're going to go up in value. They're super cheap, 68 cents. Pick them up now, make some money. Our next buy recommendation is Sage of Hours. It is 88 cents. It is a mythic rare from Journey into Nyx. Now, here's an interesting thing about Magic Online that some people may not know. It's that, in paper Magic, the cards, people go to the store and buy them. The majority of cards in Magic Online come from draft because people love to draft. And hey, I remember when I used to play paper way back in the old days during Mirrodin block and the first Ravnica block was nobody ever wanted to get together to draft because Wizards didn't really put a lot of emphasis on that. Lately, especially like when you look at sets like Vintage Masters, where they purely design the set specifically to draft. So anyway, when you look at the draft numbers, Sage of Hours, for every mythic rare in Theros block, there are 9 compared to the number of mythic rares from Journey into Nyx in circulation. So it's super rare considering Theros block And if you don't know what I'm talking about, leave me a comment and I'll talk about it next week. Or I'll write an article about it and put a link in it, a link in the show notes to it, and or in the comments, and you guys can read about it there. But it's a super rare card for the block, and it's a mythic rare, and it's under $1. Standard legal mythic rare, under $1. So go ahead and pick them up now. We are very certain that they'll be up when standard rotates in October. So pick up your Sage of Hours now. Our next buy recommendation is, and our last buy recommendation for this week, is Worst Fears. It's 74 cents from Journey into Nyx. It's a mythic rare, and like Sage of Hours, it's really rare for the block, and we think it's going to go up. We don't think it's going to go up quite as much as Sage of Hours, because we think it'll see less play and be just a less popular card, but it's still going to go up because it's a mythic rare, it's under $1, standard legal, from Theros. So go ahead and pick them up now. Our next sell recommendation is Archangel of Thune. It's currently selling for $11.40. We recommend getting out of them because they've already dropped significantly from their peak, and they're rotating out of standard. That was the reason that they've dropped, and they're going to continue to drop, and they'll continue to drop until a couple of weeks after they rotate out of standard. So get out of them now, and don't get stuck with your Archangel of Thune. Scavenging Ooze is our next sell recommendation. It is rotating out of standard. When M15 comes in, we recommend getting out of them now. If you haven't already gotten out of all of your M15 cards, get out of them now. They're currently $3.86. Take what you can for them and get rid of them, because they're going to continue to drop until after they rotate out of standard. It'll be at least about 2 weeks after they rotate out of standard when they'll hit their low. So sell them now and buy them again after M15's been in standard for 2 weeks. That'll be their statistical lowest point. So get rid of them now, make a couple bucks, and still have Scavenging Ooze. Just go without them for a month. Our next sell recommendation is Cabal Therapy, but only the edition from the Graveborn Premium Deck series. It's currently about almost double. It's like $8 for the Judgment edition and $14.25 for the Graveborn edition. If you go around and look for some of the smaller bots that don't necessarily update the pricing as quickly as they should, you may be able to find them and find them super cheap. But otherwise, we think that Cabal Therapy, for whatever reason, the Premium Deck Series version is $14.25, which is almost double what the Judgment version is. And Magic Online has kind of a unique thing about it, and that's that, yes, the cards are collectible, but the feeling of, hey, I want this card because I want to collect, doesn't exist nearly as much as in paper. And I think it's because in paper there's like a tangible object, you can hold it, you can sort it, you can display it on your wall, you can do that kind of stuff. You can't really do that with Magic Online cards. And I think that's why there's a lot less collectability in them. So we think this price is just ridiculous high. So get rid of them and take what you can, because they'll come back down. Our next sell recommendation is Griselbrand. Griselbrand is $49.04, which is pretty amazing. But he does see play in Legacy and Vintage decks. He's real popular in the a lot of the Vintage decks, where basically they, Oath in Vintages, they cheat him into play with Oath or Show and Tell sometimes, and then they draw a whole bunch of cards and play Time Vault and Voltaic Key and win the game. So anyway, Griselbrand, he's playing Vintage, and if you look at the pricing of Griselbrand, he's gone up from about $37.50 to $49.04 in about 3 weeks. That price was $6.20, so it's June 20th, 2014. He's gone up 25%, more than 25%, from $36 to $37 rather, to almost $50. So that's a huge percentage increase very, very quickly. And then if you look at him over the long term, if you go back to 1 year ago to July 2013, in July of 2013, he was $15.50. So he's gone up from $15 to $50. That's like a 200+% increase. So we really think that there's not a whole lot of room. Yeah, he may go up some more. He may go up to $60, $70. But remember, we always talk about when you make investments, you want to make sure you can make 200% per card. That's your goal. So you don't want to sit there and get stuck with, stuck with a bunch of cards that you only make 20% on, because he is a card that you have to have a lot of. You got to figure if you could invest in a whole bunch of nickel rares, they're going to go up to 15 cents over the course of a year. That's a whole bunch of copies of that card versus one copy of Griselbrand. So when we're talking about our opportunity cost, and yeah, Griselbrand may go up to $75. So yeah, you make $25, which is only 50%. But if you buy a whole bunch of those 5-cent rares and they go up to 15 cents or even 10 cents, you're making 100% or 200%, which is a much, much, much better investment. So if you guys do want me to talk about more investment theory like that, I can talk about it at a very high level. I do have a master's degree in business, so we can talk about that some more if you like hearing it. If you don't want to hear it and just want to know what I say to buy and sell, I can do that too. So, but I do value your feedback. So we just don't think that Griselbrand, but back to Griselbrand, we don't think that there's a whole lot of room for extra growth as far as price goes. So it's kind of time to sell, and if you picked him up for, he's pretty much at his peak. So if you picked him up recently, you might want to hold him for a couple weeks, see what happens, and then get out of it. But it's definitely not like a 1-year investment. This is, if you're investing in Griselbrand, you have Griselbrands right now, and you want to hang on to it as an investment, it's definitely a very, very short-term thing. Like, I would check the price daily, and I'd probably be out of it in maybe a week. So sell your Griselbrands now when you're talking about a long-term investment. Alright, Lifebane Zombie is our next sell recommendation. Lifebane Zombie is currently $2.40. He's dropped significantly because he is rotating out of standard. He's going to keep dropping. And I will bet, here's what I'm betting on Lifebane Zombie. Once he rotates out of standard, he will be not played and go down to 15 cents. Under 50 cent rare. So get out of your Lifebane Zombies now. And I know a lot of people are like, oh no, it's a good card. Yeah, it's a good card. But let's look at Thragtusk for a minute. Thragtusk was what, $18 at its peak? And then when it rotated out of standard, it was $3. And it really never recovered from that. So we think Lifebane Zombie is a lot like Thragtusk. It's a great standard card, super powerful standard card, probably one of the top 10 standard cards in a long time. But that's the only thing it is. It's not a modern card, it's not a vintage card, it's not a legacy card, it's not a commander card. It's nothing special other than a good standard card. So we recommend getting out of them now, and don't lose all your money, because we think it's going to be one of those cards that goes down to nearly nothing. Show and Tell is our next sell recommendation. It's $78.65. It's gone up quite a bit since, well, not quite a bit, but it's gone up some since Vintage Masters came out, because it does see play in certain vintage decks. And, Legacy's gotten a pretty respectable boost from the release of Vintage Masters. But the Magic Online Championship Series just fairly recently announced that Show and Tell will be one of their next, will be their next, I believe it's the August season, from August 1st to like August 27th, I think. Promo card. So there's going to be a lot more in circulation, and it's going to drive the price down. So get out of your Show and Tells now. They seem to have dropped a little bit. So go ahead and get out of your Show and Tells before there's a whole huge flood of them from the Magic Online Championship Series, and buy them again later. So sell Show and Tell. Our next recommendation are the Urza lands from Masters Edition 4. Now, these are interesting because when I was doing the research on these, I looked at it and I said, Urza's minus 14 cents. What's the problem? And then I saw Tower and Power Plant are almost $3 a piece. Why so high? Well, when you look at the 9th edition ones, they're like 30 cents. So, and yeah, okay, they're from Master Edition. It's from a long time ago. And yes, there is some degree of collectability online, and I don't dispute that. But I just don't, it doesn't exist like it does in, paper Magic. But here's the other thing. Why are they $3? Why are commons $3 for Tower and Power Plant, but mine is only 14 cents? So the reason is there's some kind of market manipulation going on. And someone or some group of people or investors or someone has been going around buying all the Urza lands to drive up the price. And it's probably someone with a big army of bots who has a lot of money and a lot of bots. So what they're doing is they're buying up all the Urza lands, these tower and power plants so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see Urza mines skyrocket up. And I mean, if you look at it, it's not like, oh yeah, everything's all good, and then suddenly, and they just kind of creeped up in price. They shot up like nearly instantly from, 15 cents, 30 cents, whatever, to $3. And it's because someone bought a whole bunch of them. And the purpose that this happens is, of course, we don't know for sure 100%, but the reason things like this happen is because someone buys up all the cards. And when you buy up all the cards, the supply decreases online, and the price begins to rise. So now I've got all these Urza lands, right, that I bought. So there aren't that many out there. So as the volume of trading, the volume of available that I don't own trades, it's essentially taking them out of the market. But what happens is the price starts to go up, and then these people this person or people who are working together sell them to small bots to put them out of business. Because now instead of buying a common for 14 cents from Masters Edition 4, you're paying $3. And what happens is the common thing to attack bots is that what happens is people will go and they'll sell all their crap rares and junk rares to bots and take all their tickets, and they have no more tickets to operate. They have no liquidity, they have cash flow problems, and then they either have to put a bunch more money in. But then that's the thing is, these people have so many cards and so much resources, more than a new bot would, that they just take all their tickets, and that's the end of that story. And then the bot kind of goes out of business. So that's what's happened. And just so you guys know, I could do a special episode on this, is you can manipulate the price too. If you find a card that's not, doesn't have a lot of in circulation, probably the third set from a block, and you start maybe a block that wasn't that popular, and yeah, it's going to take a lot of money, but find like a nickel rare, start buying them all. In fact, Dan, who works with me on Ferocious Finance here, and is the in charge of the MagicGatheringStrat YouTube channel. He's done a video, and we've talked about it before, that he bought 100 copies of a rare, and it actually began driving the price up. It only drove it up, a little bit, like a few cents, but with 100 copies of a nickel rare, which is a $5 investment, I mean, that's not a lot of money, started driving the price of a card up. So you got to figure, if someone put $100 or $1,000 into this, they could drive the price up to $3 without much of a trouble. And then they could put a bunch of bots out of business with it. So that's what's happening. You guys can do it too. If you want to talk about, strategy on how to do that kind of stuff, we can. Because I love talking about that, and I think that's one of my favorite parts of business, is putting your opponent, your competition, out of business. So sell the Urza lands if you have them. The mines, I wouldn't, not a super rush to sell. But the tower and power plant, for sure, get rid of them right now, because you never know when whoever's doing this is going to start selling them, and they're going to go back down. Alright, our last sell recommendation for this week are the enemy colored Painlands. Now, I have pictured the Apocalypse Painlands and priced the Apocalypse Painlands, but it doesn't matter which edition you're talking about. Sell them now. They're going to be an M15. They shot way up, over at least 100% for all of them except Sheevan Reef. But they all shot over 100% up when it was announced that they're going to be available in M15. And core sets are always popular. They're always drafted a lot. And now M15 has, they're offering free M15 events. So everyone who will participate in the M15 events for free, because free is good. And it's going to really flood the market on these, because they're rare, they're not mythic or anything. So get out of your Painlands now. They're going to go down as soon as M15 comes out. Because here's what happened, is they announced, we're going to have these Painlands in Type 2 again, or Standard rather. And everybody says, that's great, I'm going to go get them right now. The thing is, everybody used this information like, I got to pick them up before they come out in M15. so I can get a better deal on them. But the thing is, they didn't have any secret information. It was public knowledge that they were in M15. So a lot of people went and did this, and it drove the price up. So now there's this higher demand and the same supply. So what ended up happening was the price goes up. That's just how it works. But then when M15 comes out and the supply goes up, the equilibrium price will drop, and it'll probably go back to where it was, or lower even. It depends on what the supply is. So, but there's going to be a lot of supply, so it may go even lower than they were before they skyrocketed up in price. So sell them now and stay away from them until M15 comes out. They'll be real cheap. So sell your enemy color paint lens now. Alright, and that's going to do it for Ferocious Finance this week, presented by MagicGatheringStrat. And as always, I'm your host, Ferocious Llama. If you have any questions for me or for anyone else here on the Ferocious Finance team, go ahead and leave us a comment down on the down on the page, and we do monitor them, we do respond, and we will get back to you and answer your questions. And if you have any great ideas for a show, let us know. Anything you guys want to hear about, anything you want to see, any ideas you want me to talk about, any you guys want theory, you want more recommendations, tell us what you want, because we do appreciate your recommendations. And if you like this video, please share it, like it, and leave us a comment. So thanks for watching, everyone.